Oh, am I playing as Thrivey? Hold on, what? Oh no, Thrivey's just here. My autopsy isn't quite done, Detective. I'll check someplace else. Case mainly took place at... right, don't miss the attic. Although not everyone can give useful testimony, asking everyone is still necessary. Are you free now? What's the matter? Routine inquiry. Just some routine questions. You just need to answer honestly. Where were you when the incident occurred, and what were you doing? Reading my book downstairs at the bar. Who else was downstairs at the time? Sarzin, Heron, Hyannis, Peter, Vincel, and Anzox. Anzox, Heron, and I kept ourselves occupied while the others played cards. Thrivey's testimony added a clue about the remains. How's the autopsy coming along? I'm not quite finished yet. Please wait a bit more. Stop inquiring. Okay, let's go to the corridor and see who's out here. Corridor's empty. Okay, well, let me, It says Lunic Solar downstairs. Oh no, this is the big room. Okay. I kind of want to start with Sean because I'm most sus about Sean right now. Because he came upstairs like right before everything. About chest. What? Your whereabouts? I just want to ask what you were doing when Kane's incident happened. I was upstairs in my master and mistress's room. They rang the bell to call me upstairs, so I was going to enter their room and ask for instructions. I heard a loud sound before I entered. But my duty to the Marquis is more important than satisfying my curiosity, so I just ignored the sound. After completing my task, I went to see what happened. I think the Marquis and Marquise are willing to prove my innocence. Well, thanks for your testimony. Why do you have so much luggage? They belong to my master and mistress. I keep them here so that their room is less crowded. They have the giant room. Okay, whatever. About banging. I'm a little curious why you chose to crash the door like that. Because I'm a ram. I'm used to butting something when faced with a barrier. And after all, what just happened just now, maybe he could have still been saved. Just after coming from the room and seeing what was going on, I decided to take the most direct route. Okay. Stop inquiring. Can I search his chest? I can. This is Lunic and Solar's suitcase. Looks expensive and well made. I can't look inside though unless I get their permission. There's a mark on the chest. Maybe it's for maybe it's to travel, maybe it's not. A candle. The window's boarded up. Is the snow heavier or am I just seeing things? Well, let's go ask Lunic and Solar. I just want to ask what you were doing when Kane's incident happened. Forgive me for following protocol. Solar and I were in this room together. Sean was in my room when the incident happened. I rang the bell to call him in. The bell is on the table. I'll check it later. This is enough to eliminate us as suspects? Thank you very much. I think we're done here, so I won't disturb you further. You're very welcome, Detective. Please visit me if you need any help. Search. The bell. This is a handbell. Must be used for calling Sean. I've seen the Marquis ring the bell in his house. The sound wasn't loud, but Sean is always able to hear it. Having a butler must be nice. Some ale. Cup contains some white wine, which carried a hint of fragrance. Smells like lavender. And a candle. A candle. Everybody has a candle in their room. He was stabbed with a candlestick, wasn't he? Oh, my bad. I already read this. Yes. Okay. Map. Turn off. Well, everybody was downstairs. Was Peter downstairs? I don't remember. Part of me wants to go down and talk to... Actually, is he upstairs? I need to visit the attic. Your whereabouts. I just want to ask you what you were doing when Kane's incident happened. Me? I was watching them play cards. Right. Who's the culprit? Anzox was lost in thought. I was thinking if someone used the spare key. No way. Why are you so sure? The keys are all on the key holder and they look exactly the same. I would only imagine Sarin can discern the differences between them. Even if the murderer had all the time in the world, he wouldn't know which key to take. Ask Sargent if you don't believe me. Well, there would be someone who did see the keys, and that would be the white dragon guy. Okay. Stop inquiring. Search. What is this? Thrivy's book. The cover has the image of a dragon with some symbols that I can't quite figure out. That's Thrivy's medical supply box, so heavy that even Sargent had difficulty lugging it around. It's another candle. A candle. That's Thrivy's medical supply. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so this is the room layout, which means this is probably his bed. This is Sargent's bed. He usually uses two, but one of them is loaned to Thrivy for now. There's a bunch of old junk piled up around here. Bits of twine, decorations, angel's wings. Angel's wings for an old April Fool's costume. Okay. A ladder which is dragged around by the rope and pulley system. Okay. Window. Light streams into the attic to the round skylight. Light streams into the attic to the round skylight. Why did you say it twice? What's this? Keys? These keys must be the keys that Sargent hangs by the bedside. If there's an empty room available, the free keys will hang on there. The door was locked. Was there any problems with the key? Counted them one by one. Their shape's basically the same. Seems like they're made in the same workshop. I'll ask Sargent about it later. Let's go downstairs and talk to Sargent real quick. Is he in the kitchen? Yes, he is. I just want to ask what you were doing when Kane's incident happened. What? I need to answer too. Standard procedure, everyone does. Fine, I was playing cards at the time. Then I heard a loud sound and a ringing bell. Thought perhaps someone fell down or collapsed, so I rushed upstairs. Turns out it wasn't what I expected. Sargent leaned on the stove like a deflated balloon. What should I do? Don't worry, I'll try my best to help you. Sargent sighed and straightened the keychain around his waist. About key. Do you mind answering something about this tavern? Anything, if I can help you catch the murderer quickly. I want to know how many sets of keys you have for the place and where they're located. 2. One set is for guests. If the room is empty, I hang it by my bedside in the attic. The other set is carried with you? Exactly. Only 2, and I've checked my set, none are missing. So the one in the door of Kane's room can only be Kane's. Are you sure? Maybe it's fake? Impossible. Went upstairs to look for myself. The moment I touched the key, I knew it must have been Kane's. I know the weight and shape of each key I own. It's not a fake. It's impossible to leave after locking the door. By the way, I don't know whether it can help or not, but there is one other thing. Every lock and key was custom made for the tavern. If you tried opening any other doors with your own key, you'd find it won't go in. Why? These keys look very similar, but the angles and shapes of the teeth have tiny, almost unnoticeable differences. So it'll stick in the wrong lock. I don't know if that's negligence or brilliance on the part of the locksmith. Okay. Food. Water in the pot is boiling. Guess Sargent forgot to add meat because of the incident. Okay. Alright, let's see if anybody's in the hall for now. Hyannis and Peter. I think Peter was upstairs, wasn't he? Pete, let's talk for a minute. I don't know. Kane. I know everyone is sad right now, but we need to find the killer. No, not me. I didn't kill him. Calm down. I just want to ask you a few questions. Really? Really. You just need to tell me what you were doing at the time. I gently patted his back until he calmed down. I was downstairs playing card with Sargent and the others. After you went upstairs, we restarted a round, and this time we changed to a new game. I was having good luck with my cards, and I drew a good hand when it was Heron's turn to play. Aaron? He took your place after you left. I thought he wouldn't join in. What happened at the time of the incident? Well, I heard some kind of sound, like things were getting smashed. After a bit, the sound stopped. I guessed either Kane was either losing his temper or you were looking for something, so I didn't pay it much mind. During the second round, I heard a very loud noise suddenly. There was also a weird bell-ringing noise that I couldn't identify. Sazin put his cause on the chair immediately and rushed upstairs, then we followed him. At first I thought it was maybe it was a trifle, like someone tripped and fell, but then you know the rest. Okay, thanks for your testimony. I'm gonna talk to Ionis now. Ionis, I'd like to talk with you. Peter's ears erected suddenly. In private. Fairly sensible. Whoa, why do you have more questions? I want to know what you were doing at the time that Kane was killed. Hold on, you don't think I'm the one who... Don't worry, I'm asking everyone the same question. I was playing cards at the table. Nothing else special. I didn't realize something was happening until everyone started running upstairs as soon as I looked up from my cards. I never thought Kane would. Thanks for your testimony. Did you notice Kane acting strangely this evening? I don't think so. He was drinking, playing cards, complaining about jobs, you know, the usual. Drunk off his ass and muttering that he wanted to be a chef for nobility, but he didn't have the chance. Is that all? Me and him would meet and get drunk a lot. And I know he found a new job a few days ago. He couldn't have committed suicide. I know in my guts he didn't. Ionis put his hand on my shoulder gently. Please, Roman. Find the bastard who did this quickly. Should I check that everything is in my room? There's evidence from my last case and a notebook I keep notes in. Do you want to read the notebook? Read it. December 25, third investigates a series of continuing murders on 3rd Avenue Street. Sunny Stick is in a closed and returned to room for tomorrow. Reports as follows. 2 victims were found in their own apartments. In 2 cases, the door that leads to this home was locked. The door was locked on the third. Each victim was found near a balcony or window to the outside. Each type of blood loss caused by a single piercing wound in the chest or abdomen, which penetrated the abdomen. Is this just a repeat of my last case then? Case after an on-site investigation, we confirmed that the perpetrator, period. He lived in an apartment across the street, used a bow and tethered collapsible arrow to randomly shoot all 3 victims. Wow. That's impressive, kind of, honestly. With permission of the victims' relatives, the evidence shall be returned to the capital after the investigation concludes. Case note added to clue. Snow's continuing outside. You should probably close your window, but okay. My backpack, clothing, and sundries are inside. Okay. That's a really small backpack to hold your clothes, but alright. Heron. Okay. Heron was talking with the thing outside, but whatever. You're aware about. I just want to ask what you were doing during Kane's incident. I was watching the others play cards. Everyone can testify to this. I see. According to Peter said, it seems like you didn't just watch. What? They started another round after I went upstairs, and you took my place to join them. I just saw the game, and I just saw the game couldn't go on and decided to help. Really, how avant-garde of you, Father. Nevertheless, I was downstairs at the time. Okay, that is true. Okay. Kane's room. Can I search yet? Yes, I can. Good. Okay. What is this candlestick here? Looks like someone knocked these drinking cups on the ground. One of the 2 candlesticks was on the ground too. This looks slightly dark. The window was closed and the window bolt was also locked. I gave it a push, it won't budge an inch. Okay. There's blood on the bed, which is interesting. The single bed, there are a few bloodstains on the sheets. This is a dagger which had exquisite decorative patterns carved into its hilt. It was found stabbed deep into Kane's chest. Man, where did this dagger come from? The dagger looks expensive. Check the edge of the dagger, it's really sharp. Wounds appear to be diamond-shaped, filling with coagulated blood. The apron and other clothes were bloody as well. This dagger blade's profile is identical to the shape of the wound. Kane's pendant was hanging on his neck with an intact lanyard. Didn't he break it earlier? His wallet was also in his pocket. Well, I finished my autopsy. If there's anything you don't understand, do let me know. Thank you. Kane's eyes are devoid of any life or energy. His face was frozen with a look of shock the moment he died. He's been dead for about 30 minutes. He's also like on a chair. Oops, what did I just click on? At the beginning, his hand was resting on the hilt of the dagger, but it fell down, resting on the hilt. About the remains. I'd like to know more about the condition of the body. Very well. The victim is Kane, a male oxen, who nearly 30 years old, was found in his own room 30 minutes ago. Time of death was close to the time of the discovery. He was found in a sitting position in the chair of the room where he died. The left hand hung down naturally. The right hand rested on the hilt of the dagger. It fell away when the body was found. Victim was wearing a beige... Are you just going to tell me things that I can see, dude? Come on. The victim was also wearing a pendant. There's an open wound on the left portion of the chest. The shape of the wound is identical to that of the dagger. The depth is about a handspan long. It's probably the killing blow. The one that the dagger is still in? I wouldn't call it an open wound if the dagger is still in there. I didn't find any bruises or any other types of wound. That's all I know at present. That's all that I... Okay, you really didn't help. I haven't talked to... Vidsel, that's his name. No offense, I just want to ask what you were doing when Kane's incident happened. Quite alright, my good fellow, it's your job. I was playing cards downstairs with the others and didn't notice anything until Kane was found. Thank you for your cooperation. Dreadful business this is, but I can't help but expect that someone like you would have things well in paw, detective. Good to see someone's confident. Can I see his luggage? This is Vincel's big suitcase. Seems like he hasn't opened it since its owner entered the tavern. Routine means that I also have to ask Elegant, which is stupid because I was here, but sorry, routine. I just want to ask what you were doing during Kane's incident happened. I was standing in front of you. I see. Okay. Okay. I'm glad that was short. Oh yeah, the key in okay. Sean knocked the door open, but fortunately the lock wasn't damaged. Nothing suspicious about the outer keyhole. The key was inserted in the keyhole. I turned the key to pull it out smoothly. On the inside? Was the key on the... Oh, I guess you do need the key on the inside to lock it, yeah. But I felt something strange when I inserted the key back into the lock. A little bit sticky. Okay. Search everywhere else. Focus on the crime scene. Sniff. That's a new option. I took a deep breath, trying to sniff out the murderer. Although it doesn't work all the time, it saves me a lot of trouble. Scent of blood is too strong. I can't connect the scents with anyone. Might as well pay more attention to the scents. Time to sniff. It's time to sniff, everyone. I closed my eyes and breathed in and out through my nose. I want to check the key. I also want to check the lock, honestly. Different races and different things smell different. When they interact with each other, they'll leave a unique scent on each other. If I close my eyes and sniff carefully, I can locate the position of every odor and restore them to the scene. The more similar intact methods, places, and times are, the more similar the scent is. The alcohol in the candlestick smells like the cups. The glasses smell strongly of alcohol. Key had a metallic smell, but something doesn't feel right. Wait, it doesn't smell like the murder scene. The smell from the lock is a mixed odor of metal and hand sweat with a faint blood smell. Odor of blood and death was coming from Kane. Cherry satin was stained with similar smells. The dagger. Smell from the dagger. Smells of blood, iron, and cane. Two things smell fishy. The dagger and the key in the lock. Well, the key smells fishy, and so does the dagger to me, but key and lock. If the key was stuck in the lock after the incident, then it should smell the same as the lock. But why can't I smell it? That should do. The evidence I have is enough. Time to find out the truth. Using stand power. A JoJo reference in my furry visual novel. After a thorough search, I asked everyone to come to the hall for trial. I've gathered everyone here. Is it time for the infamous parlor scene? I can only hope the murderer is so easy to point out. Problem is I only have the clues available, so I'll need your help solving the case. But the criminal is one of us. Surely they'll try to distract or mislead you. That's exactly what I want. The more the murderer tries to whitewash the events, the simpler my job becomes. Let's start with the simplest problem first. Is this case a suicide or homicide? First mystery is the dagger in Kane's chest. Ionis, is this Kane's dagger? I've never seen him with a dagger like that. He usually borrows my knife to cut carrots. If this knife doesn't belong to Kane, I have to ask a question which no one's going to answer. Whose dagger is this? Or the better question being, who just happened to lose a fancy dagger recently? He's sweating. He's sweating because it's him. Nobody answered, of course. I looked around. Everyone was avoiding my eyes, trying to not look directly at me. Only advantage to being a detective is that everyone will think you have the ability to spot lies at a glance. But if they don't talk, you can't just make them speak. Well, at least we can be sure that this dagger isn't Kane's. Next to our second mystery, the lock. I pushed the handle forcefully at the time and it didn't move. The door couldn't be opened. Could the lock be jammed? Why would it? I checked whether the handle and the locks would work when I do my daily inspection. So the door was really locked when the incident happened. Right, until Sean crashed the door. Fortunately, the lock is still in good condition. I'll fix everything after all this is over. Did Kane really lock the door and commit suicide? I can't believe it. But the dagger is hard to explain. But maybe he kept the dagger hidden and he didn't let anybody know he had it? That's not true. There's another problem with the lock. From which side is the door locked? Is the door not working? Right. Sergeant, I'd like to confirm one thing. Spit it out. The door can be locked from both sides, correct? Sure. Naturally, we'd assume the most obvious possibility, but Kane's door was not locked from the inside. It was locked from the outside. Wait a moment. There's something strange. Hold it. Oops, my bad. What? After opening the door, Sean and I were standing by the door. Sean suggested that we should have a look at the scene so as to give better testimonies. So we checked the lock one by one, and the key was in the lock inside the room. That's right, I saw that too, but it's been a while since the door opened. During the chaos, anything could happen, such as the murderer moving the key from outside to inside. But I was beside the bed the moment it happened. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I thought you already knew that. Ask me next time. Fine. Seems the door is locked from the inside, but something smells fishy. What's strange about the lock? Kane's key was inside his room. Keyhole was sticky. Kane's door was shut. Keyhole was sticky. So weird. Why was there something like glue in the lock? Maybe it's the stew from lunch. Clearly it was sabotaged somehow. Though we didn't know the method. We can assume the door was locked from the inside for now, but we can't exclude the idea that the culprit locked the door from the inside then escaped the room by some method. Besides, Kane didn't have any reason to kill himself. Told me he found a new job this afternoon. He even said that he'll be managing his own restaurant after he saved up enough money. So he didn't have the state of mind to consider suicide. And you don't just commit suicide on Christmas. That's maybe a stretch. Thusly, the possibility of a suicide is infinitesimal. Cannot deny the possibility of homicide now. Isn't it better to say that it's actually a homicide? Now, we begin to narrow the circle of suspects. At first, we can exclude all the people downstairs. So, who was at the hall at the time? Let's see. Enzok, Sean, check them out. No. Peter's testimony. Neither the players nor Heron had gone upstairs before the incident. Yes. Oh, here you go. Thrivy's testimony. People downstairs were Sargent, Heron, Enzok, Ionis, Thrivy, Peter, and Vincel. Perfect. If I remember, there are Sargent, Heron, Enzok, Ionis, Thrivy, Peter, and Vincel. And Jean, Marquis Lunique, Marquis Solar, Roman, and myself were upstairs. Pardon moi, but Solar, Sean, and I were in my room. Shouldn't we be excluded? The problem is that Elegant and I were in her room face to face. According to you, nobody's suspicious at all. I'm sorry for my impropriety, Marquis Harlock. C'est bon. I can feel your enthusiasm for investigation. For the time being, we'll just regard everyone upstairs as suspects. These are Elegant, the Marquis couple, Sean, and me. I would like each of you to go over what you were doing when the incident happened in as much detail as you can. I want to hear Sean's testimony first. Where should I begin? When you first went upstairs. Because the Marquis called for me, I went upstairs. Generally speaking, it was about the time for Marquis' medicine to help him sleep. I heard loud noises as I was passing through, so I prepared the medicine and I went out to see what was going on. And then I found you all crowding around the locked door, so I knocked it open. Something smells fishy. Maybe I'll press harder for further information. Ask what? Ask about how to summon Sean, yes. Speaking specifically, how do they call you up? I went upstairs when I heard the bell ring. That is how they always summon me. Ask what? I want to hear about sleeping aids. What kind of medicine? Well, 1 drop of lavender and citrus oil added to water or wine. It was prescribed by the Marquis' personal physician. Sounds like a pretty mild medicine. Because it's just a slight nervous tension, it's not supposed to be potent. Okay, and the last thing is the voice outside. What noise? Just like the sound of heavy objects crashing to the ground. And the locked door, I guess I might as well. How'd you know the door was locked? Because you were dragging and pulling the handle, I just assumed it would be locked. Okay. Please add the things you mentioned to your testimony. Oh, okay. Please testify again. I heard the sound of the Marquis ringing the bell, then I went upstairs. Generally speaking, I prepared the Marquis sleeping medicine. It's a mix of lavender, citrus oils, and wine or water. Then the doctor told me to add 2 drops of oils into water or wine and gave the Marquis to drink. I heard something like heavy objects crashing into the ground, so I went out and had a look. And then I found you all crowding around the locked doors, so I crashed it. Wait, I think there's something strange in your testimony. The time when he handbell used to summon servants. Yes. Peter heard several small noises, a loud noise, and a bell ring. Yes, there you go. So the bell rang after. This is all wrong. You said that you went upstairs before hearing the ring, then heard the loud noise? Yes, is there any problem? Please recall Peter's testimony. Peter mentioned he heard several small noises, a loud noise, then the ring. Whose memory is wrong, yours or Peter's? Or one of you is lying. In fact, I didn't hear the ring. Interesting. Around this time, I usually start making the medicine. Really, it's just mixing 2 drops of stuff together. Anyway, I went upstairs before hearing the bell, and I was fixing the medicine in my room. After hearing the loud noise, I went out and heard the bell ring. So I went to the Marquis' room and put down the medicine, then went out again. That actually makes sense. When was the prescription given? About 2 years ago. My master takes it all the time. Thanks for your help. May I ask what you were doing when the incident happened, Marquis? Oui, it is my duty to cooperate with your investigation after such a terrible incident. We were in my room the entire time, pajamas on, sitting in bed. We were preparing to retire for the evening, so I rang the bell to call Sean. I heard something strange, but I couldn't identify it through the door. When Sean ran out hurriedly after he put the medicine down, I realized something had happened. Usually he waits silently until I finish the medicine, then left after cleaning the mug and blowing the candle out. Something smells fishy. Maybe I'll press harder for further information. Ask what? The order of noise, yes. Can you remember if the sounds occurred before or after you rang the bell? I cannot remember clearly. What about you, mon chéri? It seems like... forgive me, stress plays such a havoc with my memory. I don't recall. Okay. When did Sean come inside? I don't distrust you, I just want to cover all the bases. How long did it take for Sean to arrive after ringing the bell? After I rang the bell, within 30 seconds, is that right, mon petit rayon de soleil? Yes, prompt and reliable as usual. Interesting, he got there immediately? That's... Could you please tell me what you heard in detail? I am not sure, it sounded much too muffled. Night dress. Changing to pajamas. I don't mean to offend, but changing clothes is really suspicious behavior. We were preparing for... Oh, his eyes turned red. We were preparing for bed. We also changed back into our earlier clothing. As you can see, we are quite immaculate. I'm sorry, I may have overthought. I don't know, because I have really big luggage. Please add what you mentioned to the testimony. As you wish, Monsieur Detective. Please testify again. We were in our room the entire time, having changed the pajamas and preparing for bed. Our formal dress is clean without any blood. When it was the time I needed to sleep, I rang the bell to call Sean. He came within 30 seconds. I heard a muffled sound, but cannot remember if it was before I rang the bell or after. When Sean ran out hurriedly after he put the medicine down, I realized something had happened. Usually he waits silently until I drink, then leaves after cleaning the cup and blowing out the candles. Let me think, something isn't right. Which evidence is contradictory with Lunac and Solar's testimony? We were in our room, having changed the pajamas and prepared for bed. Oh, but the luggage is in his room. By the way, your suitcase is so heavy. It is. We need to prepare well before we vent out into winter. Whichever is... Wait, was it not that? Sean smashed the door open by nature. By nature. What kind of person is Sean? I believe you have met him before, Detective. You have met him before, Monsieur Detective. Only once, so I'd like to hear your opinion. He's a good servant, loyal, reliable, responds swiftly. Okay. I guess I'll mention the mug. Nothing doubtful, I think. Maybe safe to assume we've exhausted this line of questioning. Uh-oh. Did I fail? I think so too. Thank you for your cooperation. Then who are you asking next, Monsieur Detective? Next one is elegant. What were you doing at the time? What me? I was standing in front of you. Came in, I shut the door, and I inquired if you were wearing a bell. That should be the Marquis' bell ring, I think. Then there was a crashing sound and a loud noise. So you heard the bell first, and then we heard all of this. After which you opened the door forcibly and ran out. Interesting. I followed you and saw you trying to open the door to Kane's room. What? Ask what? Handbell sound. Yeah, I'm curious about this because... Also, what were you doing before I went upstairs? That is valid. Can you sure you heard the bell ringing? I don't remember hearing it myself. Maybe you were distracted by the sound of the door closing. But my hearing is also much better than yours. The order of noises. So the sequence of sounds, can you go over them? As you wish. The first was a ringing bell, then our conversation, then the sound of crashing, followed by the loud sound. This is getting weird. Before I went upstairs. You have no proof you were in your own room the entire time I was downstairs. Correct. Well, that was direct. You are welcome to doubt my testimony if you wish, as I cannot actually prove that. Please add what you've mentioned to the testimony. As you wish. Please testify again. I cannot prove my behavior before you went upstairs, but I was standing in front of you at the time. The ringing should have occurred when I shut the door, so you missed it. Then in sequence, there was the ringing and then the smashing sound, after which you opened the door forcibly and ran out. I followed you and saw you trying to open the door to Kane's room. Okay, so this is contradictory again with Peter's testimony. Weird. Hold it. Same question. Peter, Sean, and you all heard the ring and small noises, but everyone's testimonies about the order of sounds are different. Peter heard the small noises first, then the bump, and then the ring. You heard the ring first, small noises, then the loud noise. Sean only heard the loud noise and a ring. Who's lying? What if nobody lied? That is valid. So, it's not gonna let me. So, if they heard the sounds in this order, it's possible that Sean was in his room when the first bell was rung, and he heard it through the cracks of the floor, because the door was muffling the sounds. And she was in her room, so she didn't hear it either. But then, there was the crash, or the small sounds, and he didn't hear it because... Well, why wouldn't you hear it? I'm gonna say nobody lied for now. Let's see. Nobody lied. Huh? Then it's a suicide, isn't it? Nobody lied, but nobody could describe the whole thing. What if there was more than one ringing? Though I didn't hear anything, stupid ears. For example, the first is a ringing, then the crashing, then followed by a loud sound, and then the ringing again. In this way, the sequence that the three people heard should be correct. The number of bell rings is the key to solving the... Oh. The number of bell rings is the key to solving the case? Yes. But why would the Marquis need to ring the bell again? Unless his faithful servant didn't answer when the first bell ring came out. Well, I didn't want to say because it would make the Marquis suspicious. But you have thought this stage. I have to explain. In fact, I heard two ringings. The first time I prepared the medicine. I entered to prepare the medicine. The second time I didn't understand, but still came in. But before I had the chance to ask the reason, I heard the loud sound from outside. By the way, when I first answered the bell, I only saw the Marquis sitting on the bed without Marquis Harlock's presence. Oh, he just downed the Marquis. Something smells fishy. Maybe I'll press harder for further information. Ask what? Second entry. Could you please tell me the exact situation when you entered the second time? I opened the door and saw Master Lunik and Mistress Solar seated together. He was breathing heavily and sweating a great deal. Okay. Ask what? You didn't see the Marquis the first time? No, only the Marquis. Are you sure he wasn't hiding in the corner or someplace you didn't notice? I'm sure. And bell rang twice. So you heard two ringings, and came in the room twice. Please add what you mentioned to the testimony. Oh, okay, please testify again. In fact, I heard two ringings and answered it twice. I prepared the medicine the first time, but the Marquis wasn't in the room. Second time, I found the Marquis in the room, breathing heavily and sweating profusely. But before I had the chance to ask the reason, I heard the loud sound from outside. Hold on. Sean. Please calm down. Don't hurt the witness. As I step between Sean and Lunique, Sean sees the opportunity to retreat. Monsieur Detective, I order you to step aside. This is a personal matter. But, which book should you quote to stop Lunique? Hello? I don't understand either of these things. Detective code. Helios code. Can I... Alright, I'm gonna save here because this doesn't make any sense to me and there's no previous context for this. Unless there's something that I haven't seen. What is set? No. Yeah. I'm gonna hit detective code. Detective code article 42 stipulates that detectives must prevent harm to witnesses caused by honest testimony. As a detective, I don't want my witness afraid to testify honestly because of intimidation or fear. His testimony is a lie. If you think he's lying, you can choose to tell the truth. Very well, I shall do as you ask. I'm listening. Indeed, I have rang the bell twice. I did not say so earlier because I did want my servant to become a suspect. What? I think he meant to say didn't. I consider it a recompense for 10 years of loyal service. But now that he has betrayed me, I will expose his lies sans pitié. He didn't come at all when I rang the bell the first time. He came in after I rang the bell the second time after some time. Something smells fishy. Maybe I'll press harder for information. Didn't want Sean to get suspected. Why did you lie the first time? As I said, I did not want my servant to become a suspect. He was arrested who will serve me. But, I knew I was wrong. Please continue asking. Late the second time is very interesting. Is your latest testimony true? Absolutely true. Without any exaggeration out of personal emotion, I swear it upon my title. Didn't show up the first time. Sean didn't come in when you first rang. Why else would I need to ring again if he came? Maybe you're influenced by my speculation? No. That's quite disloyalty. Why do you think Sean betrayed you? His testimony doesn't have any truth and slanders my good name. Do you have any method to expose his lies? Ah, not my words enough. As if I'd accept that. Ask what? Stop interrogation. Okay. As you wish, Monsieur Detective. Indeed, I rang the bell twice. Did not say so earlier because I did not want my servant to become a suspect. Now I know I was wrong, but I did not think too much about it at the time. I consider recompense for 10 years of loyal service. His testimony is an absolute lie. I swear it upon my title. When I first rang the bell, he didn't come, so I rang again. He came in after I rang the bell, and the second time after a while. I have no idea. Both of their testimonies are pretty weak. Even if I asked Solar to testify as Lunique's wife, her testimony would be suspect at best. If testimony is all that we can rely on, then we'll never find the solution. Perhaps we should see if there's anything at the scene that can contradict them. Well, we haven't discussed the problem with the lock yet either. Now that the suspects are narrowed down again, I think I found a common point. Do you remember the moment when the Marquise first arrived at the tavern? I forgot the melted snow had damaged the heel of my shoe. Interesting. I guess we thought of something. Ah, what do you think? Whichever evidence is related to the memory. What? The heel of the shoe? Luggage? Yep. What is it? Well, it's that. That's it, of course. Of course not. Okay. Maybe she used glue to fix it? That's a little weird, but okay. The lock. I guess we thought of something. Which part of the lock? Part of the lock is suspicious. Kane's key was inside his room. Kane's door was shut. The keyhole was sticky. Yes. The stickiness of the lock. Why? This is very esoteric, yeah. If my memory is right, the Marquise had ordered Sean to re-glue the heels of her shoes. The capital's high-end shoemakers usually make shoes with a specific type of glue. Although the glue is easy to dissolve with cold water, the shoemakers still use it over anything else. Partly because no noble lady will be walking in water, but mostly because the glue has no odor to it. I'd wager that if Sean carries a jar of the stuff... I'd wager that Sean carries a jar of the stuff in case of an emergency. Oui, he does. The glue would explain why the door was stuck for no reason. Only a detective with your level of talent could find the connection between such things. That does include your nose, by the way. Which evidence can connect the glue, the lock, and the key? Sniffing result. The lock and the key smell different, but the lock and the dagger smell alike. Which means the glue from the lock was on the dagger. Well, smell alone can't be used as evidence, but it does give me an idea. The smell of the door lock and the key at the scene weren't the same. Now that I think about it, that means key was replaced. Yeah, the key was plugged in after that. So the key was inserted later. Pourquoi? The Bod and Sean have seen the key was stuck in the law when we came in. They're not the same one. Impossible. Hold it. What went wrong? Have you forgotten? The key cannot plug into other rooms' locks. Every key is handmade by a good blacksmith. They look similar but cannot be inserted into wrong locks. I know that, but you don't have to insert it. The only thing that matters is if it looks like it's inserted in. Looks like. I did see the key stuck in the lock. If you break the key in half, then stick the shaft in the lock with glue, it wouldn't matter whether it fit or not. Wild guess. The glue could be torn off. Ma chérie? Yes, but it would be quite difficult. If that's so, then I can tell who the murderer is with ease. Which is, with just one thing, you can prove yourself innocent. Show the key. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Oh, because it would be their key. It's simple. Take out your room keys and open the door. Let's begin with the most suspicious three, as I believe you're all anxious to prove your innocence. With my pleasure. We should have done this much sooner. Indeed. Well, take your keys out and open the door one by one. Ladies first, mademoiselle. My pleasure, Marquis Harlock. Elegant took her key out and approached the door without hesitation. Key slid into the lock, turned, and the door opened. She's always so calm and certain. I dare say if she was a murderer, she'd be a terrifying culprit to face. Next, Marquis Harlock. If this can prove my innocence. Lunik took out his key and approached the door, though his hands trembled slightly. Key missed the hole once or twice, and I could see sweat begin to form in his fur. After several unsuccessful attempts, his wife stepped over him, whispered something to him, and guided his hands. This time the key slipped in easily into the keyhole and turned with a click, and Lunik's shoulders slumped in relief. Now the result is clear. Sean, it's your... Sean, it's your... We've opened all our doors, now there's only Sean left, it must be him. If all three keys work on the respective doors, it shows that Roman's hypothesis cannot stand. In other words, we'll have to start over from the beginning. It's not foolish to jump so quick. Is it not foolish to jump quickly to a conclusion? Yeah, as you say. Sean, let's begin. Sean reached into his bag and froze. What? My key. It's missing. Maybe you should empty it to make sure. I don't think that will... Empty the bag. No. Lunik snatched the bag from Sean and dumped the contents on the ground. A dozen copper coins, a silver coin, half a key covered in glue, and a piece of blue crystal fell out on the carpet. Sean staggered back against the wall, clutching his vest tightly with both hands, and looked around with wide eyes. I've already guessed earlier. But what about the loud noises? Those had to be Kane's falling body. If I were the murderer, I wouldn't have the time to kill him and prepare the medicine. The bell just rang out after the noise of his collapse. I couldn't have had time to... No. This is all wrong. Lunik just testified that you didn't come on time when he rang the bell. I was just a few seconds late. A few seconds couldn't buy me enough time to complete the tricks you made up, right? Tricks. Indeed, you were clever. What? For example, the loud noise. Not the sound of Kazel. Was not from Kane's falling body. He was sitting on a chair. What else could it be? Such loud noise must be the noise of a body falling down. Sorry about that. I just sat down. I have two pieces of evidence to prove that the sound was not caused by Kane's fall. Firstly, Kane's pendant wasn't lost. Fatal injury in the chest. His hand was grabbing the dagger. Corpse was in the chair. Yes. He fell into the chair. Even if you could collapse back with no support at all, most of the impact would be cushioned by the chair. If he fell back like that, there wouldn't have been nearly enough noise. Or rather, if he fell back like that, his chair would have been on the floor. So the sound of heavy objects falling to the ground was caused by something else. The second piece of evidence I want to present was caused alarm sound. It was the candle? Yes. Yeah, candle. The cup and candle in Kane's room. Oops, my bad. You honestly believe those two items would make that much noise? No. Okay. So... Oh, he rammed into his own luggage to make the noise. I see. The suitcase is in Sean's room. The luggage is heavy enough that it'd weigh as much as... I mean, they're both extremely heavy. Throwing them around would be more than loud enough. So you killed Kane, then went back to your own room, threw the suitcase, and rushed to the Marquis's room. If you made the noise in your room, you could easily reach the Marquis in time without arousing suspicion. Don't be ridiculous. Why would I kill someone I don't even know? We'll get to that. Click Q&A. Click the moving icons to answer. Okay, so the weapon is pretty obvious. It's the dagger. Lethal weapon is the dagger. the dagger. The dagger, of course, the murderer didn't cover this up. The method, modus operandi. Here's how things played out. Okay. No. Suspect burst Kane's door open. Suspect glued half the key to the door. Suspect made a loud noise in his room. Knocked the cup and candle to the floor. No, he never replaced the key. He just locked it from the outside. So yes. That's bad. About your answer, 3 of the chips are in their position. Oh no, actually, 3 would be here, yeah. No, he glued half of it to the door first, and then he did this. And then he made a loud noise in his room last. No, this last, then this. Perfect. Sorry about that. What? 0 of the chips? Why would he glue half the key after he went in with everybody watching? So I don't understand how it's not the order that I had earlier. 73562. It's the only way that makes sense to me. He didn't lock it from the outside then? He replaced the key with Kane's. It doesn't make sense for this not to be the first one. So if it's the second one, I guess. Like this? 37624? Oh! 4 of the chips are in position. He made the loud noise, then he locked the door. And why would he do that? Oh, all of the criminal's confusing actions in this case, no matter before or after the loud sound, can be matched. Whenever it opens, it will close in the end. Wherever you borrow, you will return in the end. 37624. And 4 of them are correct. Which one is in the wrong place then? Oh, no? Okay, never mind. That is correct. That's not the incorrect one. This doesn't make sense, though. 3 of the chips. Okay. The key was glued onto the door at first, then was replaced later. Yes, okay. The door was locked from the outside. After the case happened, the criminal broke in to confuse us. Yeah, that's what I was doing, and it was saying that it was wrong. What? I screamed. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh my god, are you kidding me? How is one of them now? 35624. 35624. I can't believe I had to get the help on both of them. Did I not do this combination? I thought I did. Okay. This is a sequence of events. Okay. Suspect. Oh. I think it's obvious the murderer is Sean. Sean, he had both the time and the motive. Wait, why did he have the motive? Be patient, I will explain the motive. Though Sean denied that he had met Kane before, one thing caught my attention. There's a blue crystal in Sean's bag, which looks just like Kane's pendant. Kane had worn that pendant for as long as I've known him. Maybe you two are old friends? No need to answer that. I think I know why you killed him. Why did you say that? Two old friends reunited after many years of separation, but instead of a happy reunion, all you got was rage. Let me guess, it's all about betrayal? What are you talking about? For example, you promised that you would recommend Kane to the Marquis when you got the chance. Then he would finally achieve his dream of becoming a cook for the nobility. But it seems you didn't keep your promise because you didn't think you'd ever see him again. Actually, if it weren't for the snowstorm, you two probably would have never crossed paths. You committed the crime when Kane had lost his temper. Okay. That does make sense. This is a lot harder. This is really hard, and it's really obtuse in a lot of the ways. Like, especially like the get the order of events thing, like, right? The way that that's laid out is just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm just getting those all wrong every time. Let's begin. Case playback. Kane went upstairs after dinner, and you followed him soon after. One of Kane's actions confused me at the time. He was spinning his necklace, yeah. He had pulled off his pendant and was letting it hang from his hand. My guess is, I think Kane was sending a signal to someone. I recognize you. You noticed Kane's signal and followed him upstairs. You were talking in his room, then the ring from the bell from Lunik's room happened. That was the first bell ring. Kane mentioned your betrayal and knocked over the mug and candlestick. That's the crashing sound we heard. You felt endangered when Kane faced you, so you decided to strike first with your dagger. He collapsed into the chair without any noise. You took Kane's key, then broke your own key and stuck it in the lock with some glue you used to fix Solar's shoes. You didn't pull out the dagger because you feared that blood would get on your clothes. After all, you only needed to deny that the dagger was yours. Then you went out, locked the door from the outside, returned to your room and made that noise by tossing the suitcase. The Marquis noticed you hadn't arrived and rang the bell for a second time. You entered to serve just in time. After that, you pretended to be surprised and ran out. You smashed open the door, then exchanged the key you had stuck in the door with Kane's key. That's how it happened. Just admit it, Sean. You can't escape my logic. Fine. I did it. Sean's transverse pupils looked straight at me, and I couldn't see any emotion in his eyes. Whether it was sadness or fear or despair, I couldn't tell. I didn't expect that either. I was just scared. His appearance, panting, looming over me with those red eyes, he looked like he was going to... Sean's hands were shaking, grasping his sleeves tightly. But you're the one who struck first in the deadliest blow. According to the Helios Code, whosoever murders another person shall be hanged without special justification. I'm sorry, but your excuse is too weak to counter your punishment. I really don't want to be hanged. Is there any other options for me? I can't say no. Even if we wanted to exercise the rights under the Helios Code. In fact, we are going to apply Helios Code. In the event that a case cannot be immediately brought to trial, as long as there is a qualified detective present, a judgment may be pronounced under a detective's discretion. Even if you will not escape judgment, accept what you... Tarzan, let me finish. So I was saying, according to the code, you have 10 minutes to make your peace. If you don't want to be hanged, do something. Like a confession? Depends on your definition of confession. Alright. Sean set his handkerchief on the chair back, bowed his head, and meekly followed Sergeant up the stairs. Suddenly, several loud noises came from upstairs. What happened? I'm a little scared. Let me have a look. Open the door, now. Sergeant used his shoulder to batter open the door to Kane's room. What happened? Sean ran inside and jammed the door with something. Ah! The door swung open, knocking the nightstand aside. Sean leaned back, leaning against the chair where Kane was sitting, holding the dagger, sweating profusely. He clenched his teeth, closed his eyes, and thrust the dagger deep into his stomach. Thick blood gushed out around the blade and onto the handle, covering the fine carvings in layers of crimson. Sean had used the same dagger to break the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," but he also atoned with his crime with it. We just stood there and watched as life slowly ebbs from Sean's body. Now we're in big trouble. When the snow stops, I need to go to the judiciary to testify. But first, we need to take care of Sean and Kane. Roman, take this up to my bedside. Sergeant threw me the key to Kane's room, picked up the broken key, and stuffed it into his pocket. Thrivey, get Heron up here and ask him if he could perform a funeral. But if he refuses to perform a funeral rites for suicide, tell him Sean was hanged by me with Roman's permission. Okay. Heron came upstairs with Rosary and his phi cross. I pulled down the ladder to the attic. The attic was dark, and I started regretting leaving the candle downstairs. My eyes adjusted to the darkness. I carefully walked around the trapdoor on the floor and hung the key on the key holder. I went back to the corridor and met Sergeant dragging the body. Roman helped me drag them down to the yard. As long as they're kept outdoors, they won't rot in the freezing cold. Heron's already recited scriptures for them. When the snow stops, I'll ask the church to give them a decent funeral. Well, dragging two stiff bodies, we went downstairs along with the spiral stairs. Should we leave the dagger here or pull it out? You're going to want to keep it there. At least, I would say pull it out, but not in the middle of the hallway, dude. Just leave it there for the coroner to confirm. Right. Sergeant opened the door and dragged Kane and Sean for the tap. I feel like that might have been bad. Someone's going to take that dagger and use it to kill someone else. Sergeant opened the door and dragged Kane and Sean from the tavern. Maybe I'll go to sleep now. I went upstairs. All the doors are locked except Kane and Sean's. Everyone went to bed, whether they can fall asleep or not. I need to go to bed too, though I probably can't fall asleep. I locked the door, hid the key under the pillow, and then blew the candle out. Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah. Turns out you didn't forget me, Sean. Sure. So you merely forgot the promise that we made, right? So sorry. I haven't had the chance to recommend you. No chance at all? Being the Marquis's valet doesn't even bring you a single chance to even mention my name? Sorry. Even if you didn't fulfill your promise, I still hope that we could keep in touch. Don't smash things. Just wait a moment. Don't be so angry. Even if you failed to keep your word, I always thought of you as a friend. Don't come near me. This is what I wanted to tell you after I calmed down. But you never gave me the chance. Oh, that's afterward. When it pours down.